Hi, welcome to the Closet Philosophy Podcast. This is Jennine. I'm a personal stylist.
And this is Kristen. I'm a fashion writer, and we're here to uncover the ways that your personal style is so much more than just clothes.
Whether you realize it or not, what you wear touches on science, psychology, culture, politics, and so much more.
Asta Gaur is a Google exec 9 to 5 and your internet style cheerleader 5 to 9. On Instagram, she shares unfiltered takes on dressing in a male-dominated industry, daily get ready with me's, showing how she dresses intuitively, and the mindset shifts women can take to stop playing small with their style. On her Substack, Fit Happens, she breaks down detailed frameworks and the psychology behind why outfits work. So women can dress without self-doubt, ditch the male gaze rules we grew up with, and build a closet full of items that are uniquely them. Through her viral concepts like the friction formula, Asta helps women show up as the boldest, most intentional version of themselves at work, at home, and everywhere else. Asta, welcome to Closet Philosophy. I am so excited to chat with you.
Yeah, we're so glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here and to talk to both of you. I'm just really excited for the conversation because I love both of you. I love what you do. I think it's so important what both of you are doing on your socials and through this. So thank you. I'm so honored to be a part of this. I'm really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you are an amazing. I love your style. Videos are very like bite-sized and also like in-depth at the same time. Like it's just really amazing. So we would actually love to hear about your background, where you're from, and where do you live now, and what do you do at your day job?
Yeah, for sure. So I work at Google right now. I'm a senior director and I lead the design team for Google Maps here. And that's fairly new for the last 1 year or so. Before that, I used to work in Google Ads, but I've been here for 13 years. I am originally from India, and I moved to the US about 20 years ago for grad school, and I studied graphic design. So I have this background in just, shapes and lines and colors and thinking about it from a very design-oriented point of view. And I feel like a lot of how I get dressed is basically the same mindset and bringing the same kind of thinking, plus my background too, right? So growing up in India and everything that comes with that in terms of visual preferences, and then going to a very progressive art school here in the US. I went to California Institute of the Arts in Santa Clarita, and what that means, and then working in tech for all these years, all of that just comes together in how I really live my life and get dressed today.
Oh, that's so cool.
Jennine, that's a little similar to you. Jennine also has a graphic design background.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I went to the University of Arts in London. Yeah, like I do 100% agree that a lot of like the concepts, visual concepts translate between the disciplines, and it's really like actually like amazing when you start applying design principles to your style.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I think one of the biggest things that I have started noticing maybe in the last 1 year or so is that it unlocks a different mindset. Because I have found that for me, it's always been very easy to ignore style rules like black and navy not going together or don't wear white after. Because as a designer, you typically don't have those rules for yourself. Like no designer or painter says, I will never include this color in my work, or I will never put these two things together, because that's just not how visual arts work. So I feel like that actually helps in exploring style when you don't have arbitrary rules, because we never learned them. That's not how we learned to put things together,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so, I mean, as a result, your personal style is very bold and unapologetic. But I'm curious, has it always been this way, or was there a point in time when the current style that you have now sort of emerged?
Oh, it has definitely not been like that. I guess maybe, so when I was growing up in India, it was bold and unapologetic, but in a very different way. It wasn't like super colorful or anything. I was just, as I was growing up in my teenage years, I was getting the sense of how unfair the world was to little girls compared to little boys, and everything that, even though my mom was amazing and the way she raised us was so good, but that's why when I was very young, I did not realize that. I was getting older, 11, 12, 13. I started to recognize this difference in how my female cousins were being treated versus my male cousins and so on. So I was just really mad at the world. So I would wear like black, white, navy, basically. That was it. And it was bold, but in a very different way. It manifested in a different way. I used to wear a uniform, so there weren't that many opportunities for personal style to develop, honestly, because we would be in the same clothes every single day, like a school uniform. But then it stayed in that area. Through college too, it was all about, I was so intent on like being like a man. Basically, I rode a motorcycle. Like I was just like, okay, I'm gonna. So I was super, super masculine. I used to dress very masculine, basically. And I came
Wow.
here to Los Angeles to grad school. And then I felt like, okay, maybe I don't need to do that. So I went the opposite direction. I had this like small, brief period where I would dress like very frilly and like pink and what I thought was hyper femme. And right away, I knew that was not me. And I feel like it all comes as part of even getting older and gaining confidence in yourself, right? So it was only after grad school, once I started working, I was working at a graphic design agency. That's when I actually put a little bit more thought into it, and a thought into who am I and what do I want to represent with my clothes. And ever since then, I would say it's been consistent. Now, of course, it doesn't look the same, but consistent in approach for sure.
I love that. And how would you say that consistent and approachable looks like to you?
Yeah, so I said consistent in approach. And what
Yeah.
I mean by that is the specific approach that I'm talking of is basically just wearing whatever the hell I want to wear
Oh,
without
okay.
really thinking too much about does it go together? Is it following some rule or any
Mm,
of those things, right? So,
yeah.
because before that, I was always dressing to try to achieve something and trying to be who I'm not. So, I'm going to get dressed like a boy because I'm mad at the world. So, it was more reactionary. Or I'm going to dress more feminine because I've been dressing more masculine. It was also more reactionary.
Mm,
After that, it switched to I am just going to dress how I want to today, and the result is what the result is, and I'm not going to worry too much about what the end looks like. So that
mm,
approach has pretty much been consistent in
mm.
those last 15 or so years.
I love that. I love that. It's so cool. Well, I mean, I think that that's really interesting too, because, like so many people don't really approach it like that. And, like for example, like I have, many clients who struggle with dressing for work and, you work in a corporate environment, Google. And can you talk about like how your style impacts like how you're perceived at work? Like, do you get reactions? Do you think it affects your performance? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, actually, there's a little bit of a story here because, let me not paint it as oh, it's been so smooth, right? Because what happened was in my design agency, I was dressing however I wanted to. When I started working at Google, I saw very quickly that everyone around me was dressed in a very specific way. It was jeans, t-shirts, sandals, basically. That's it. Because dressing in tech is casual, and then LA is even more casual, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the other thing is, I was the one of like three women on the entire team. I was the first
Wow.
Indian person, first designer in this office. So I was just like the other in so many different ways, right? So I made a decision myself to dress more like the people around me. So I actually had literally like two parts of my closet. One was because I had this vibrant life outside of work where I was dressing in like fun clothes and sequins and colors and all of that. And at work, it was like t-shirt, probably a free t-shirt from work, jeans, sandals, whatever, right? I honestly don't even have that many pictures from that time period because I just didn't like how I was dressing. And then it was literally this moment. I don't think there was any big instigator behind how it happened, but I just looked at my closet and I was like, this is kind of stupid. Like maybe 3, 4 years into my tenure here. And I decided that I was not going to do that anymore. And I started dressing however I wanted to. Very honestly, I did not get that many reactions. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I was like, okay, maybe it was all in my head. And I also think the difference is that I did it when my energy, like energetically, I was ready to do it. So I show up in a very different way,
Mm-hmm.
which means people are less likely to comment on it. I feel like you get more comments if you yourself are in this energy of not being fully confident, right? Because people can pick up on it energetically.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
That said, I do get comments here and there. Like just recently, there was a guy who doesn't know me at work who I was wearing these silver pants, and he was like, "Oh, that's interesting." So I do get comments sometimes, but it has been very less frequently than I feared, at least.
Hmm.
Mm. It's
That's
in,
really interesting. I mean, do you think that do you think that some of the some of the guys there are just kind of like unobservant, or do you think that they don't care?
I
Or
think a
I
lot of
don't,
them don't care. I
yeah.
do think that's some of it. The guys just don't, or a lot of the people here don't care so much about what someone else is wearing.
Mhm.
I think some of it is also I often get feedback from people at work, especially that I'm intimidating. So maybe that might be why they're not talking to me about this. I'm like, that's great. If this is the end result of that, please be intimidated. That's great. You know,
Yeah.
some of it might be that. The other thing might be that because I'm a designer, and a lot of people here are engineers, we don't have that many designers here. I bet some of it is also they're just like, oh well, she's the designer, she's doing what the
Mm.
designer people do. So there's a lot of like maybe privileges, if you call it that, which make it less likely for me to get comments on style. Same for from in public though, because I hear about so many women who get comments from their family and in the out in the world from their friends. I don't seem to get a lot of them. But
Mm.
as I'm saying that, I also reflected with my sister that it might be that I don't clock them. I don't register them. That I
Mm.
am actually getting the comments. I just don't even think about them. So I don't even remember them. That might be some of it
Mm.
too.
Because maybe you're not putting too much stock in what other
Right.
in comments like that. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's really cool though, because it's like you're doing your own thing, and it's funny because like recently, like I think like about like a month ago or something, I just stopped wearing makeup, and like after all the hubbub,
Hullabaloo?
hullabaloo. Yeah, that, with like Pamela Anderson not wearing makeup and everybody made a big deal about it. It's like we're supposed to be wearing makeup, and I just like stopped, and like literally no one noticed. Like no one noticed my videos. No, my husband didn't notice. My kid didn't know. Nobody asked me if I was sick or if anything was wrong. There was like nothing, and it just is like so interesting because we think that people are out there thinking about us,
Yeah.
and actually they're really not.
Yeah.
And
I know. So I have to give
so,
one more example. So just yesterday, my husband went to the barber and had his head shaved.
Mhm.
oh,
And he had his some hair before. I mean, his it was thinning, but he did have hair. Completely shaved off. And when my daughter saw him, she cried. And
oh,
and when I saw him, I was like, "Whoa,"
Yeah.
like I had a reaction, but he was like, "I have to be on a call with like 60 of my colleagues tomorrow. Like I wonder like what are people going to say or whatever." Not one person
Mm.
said one thing about him having a bald head. So it's like, if you're not personally connected to someone, you maybe just don't clock
You don't. Yeah.
exterior stuff.
I
yeah,
agree. And that one is like, it's such an extreme one, right? That you would feel like, okay, people would notice, but
Yeah.
no. Yeah, I also have another example like that. There was a time where I just went and got my hair like colored pink. I'm saying like bleached and pink, like shocking pink. It was
oh
fuchsia
wow,
pink. And I come into work and no one says anything. So I'm like, okay, maybe they're just being polite, whatever. Then this one engineer comes to me and he looks at me and he goes, your hair is pink. And I'm like, yeah, it is. And then the engineer who sits right next to me, who has been sitting next to my pink hair for like a full day at this point, looks at me and goes, oh, yeah. I was like, wow.
you just don't notice. Like that's like a huge difference, and like they don't notice, and so
No.
yeah, I
That is
mean,
hilarious.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that actually reminds me of another video that you had recently where I've been enjoying your content so much. I've been like binging it.
I feel the
You,
same about both of you, by the way.
oh, thank you. But yeah, so you had a pair of socks on. You were like doing a get ready with me,
Mm.
and then you had to go to a present to give a presentation, I believe you said, and you had these socks on with sandals, and then at the very end of the video, you were like, I just need to like be honest with you all that I changed my socks because I have to give a presentation and I didn't want like the focus to be on my socks.
Yeah.
So like how do you balance that? Like like obviously you promote dressing to express yourself, to feel good, to bring confidence and all that stuff. But like are you finding that to be a difficult balance ever? Or maybe people, I mean, based on our previous conversation, nobody would have probably even noticed your socks.
No, no, but I think it's actually such a good question because I feel like it's not about them, it's about me. Because I really think that's the difference. You could be wearing the exact same clothes, but if your energy is off, that's what people pick up on, and that's when the comments and the judgment starts. If your energy is just like even a little bit off. So what happened that day, because I lead our entire LA office and I had to do a town hall basically, and there were some questions that had come in for our facilities team, and it's a woman who leads the facilities team, and there were all these questions that were just, I thought, had a rude tone. So I was planning to go on stage and basically tell people that that's not acceptable. So I was
Mhm.
like, okay, if I'm wearing these fuzzy socks and I'm elevated on the stage, like literally at their eye level are the socks. I
Mhm.
just feel like there's this dissonance in me wearing fuzzy socks and giving out this message.
Mhm.
So it's not about, maybe half the people wouldn't have cared, but it's like how I want to show up in that, in that
Mhm.
moment. It just did not work for me, and that's why I
Yeah.
changed.
That
Do you
totally makes sense.
Oh yeah, it does. And it also made me think of, and this is something I think about all the time, is what, like, do you design, I guess, your experience, like
Mm.
how people experience you through style?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I really think it
Yeah.
comes down to that, because it comes down to how do I want to show up. First, I want to make sure that how I show up is actually who I am on the inside. Otherwise, you
Mm,
will not feel. That's why I did not feel great in those pink frilly dresses, because that's just not who I am on the inside, right? So
mm,
I want to make sure that who I present myself to be and who I am on the inside is resonant. And
mm,
why is that? That's for the purpose, for me, definitely it's to design that experience of interacting with others. That's why
mm,
sometimes people ask me about like working from home and how to dress, and I get it. Like if that's your life, then obviously you feel not so great if you're not dressing the way you want to. I understand it. But
mm,
for me, I'm in pajamas when I'm working from home. I'm like, it's okay, including like what you see. I'm like, it's
mm,
okay if people are seeing this like pajama top, and I'm fine with it. What are they gonna
mm.
think? I'm in my pajamas? Yes, I am.
I love that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that way. I never thought of that before. Like, I love that way of thinking about designing. How did you say it? Designing other people, how other people are going to
No,
experience you?
yeah,
No.
designing how people experience you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
love that.
it's just like, I mean, and it goes from, I always feel like it's like kind of turning up the knobs, or like, like those like music producers, how they have all these like panels with all these like different knobs that they tune and stuff. And I feel like style is a lot like that. And there are certain things that you want to dial up or dial down depending on what you're experiencing, for example, one time I was like wearing, I was working during the day. I had like style sessions. I was doing all of this stuff, and I was wearing this polka dot oversized shirt with like polka dot maxi dress that was like really big, and I had like jewelry on. It was just like really, 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 really big. And it was like, this is like all about like me designing the whole like experience of me and my expertise, right? But then I had to do this thing, go to a community event. It was a political community activation event in the evening. And I was like, this is not appropriate to wear because this is like, look at me. And I want to communicate like I'm here to listen, which is a completely different outfit, right? And you were talking about like how like even just like this the sock line of like, or the line of sight, depending on where people are viewing you,
Right.
like you're designing, like you don't want them to look at your socks, you want them to look at your face. And so like
Yeah,
putting together how you want people to experience you just based on what you're wearing.
I love that. I always say that I like to dress for the occasion and the location. And
Mm,
and I think that's the tricky thing. Because if it's as simple as okay, wear whatever you want, then like we've solved it. Now if any sure, anyone can wear whatever they want. I
mm,
think the problem why, in my opinion, people struggle with what their personal style is because they haven't quite figured out how to honor who they are, but still show up as what they think is appropriate. It doesn't have to be by my definition, but like
mm,
belonging is the real social human need, right?
mhm,
And we want to belong, but at the same time, where do you find that line between belonging in the right way, but also still honoring yourself? That's like technically the tricky part. And once you find that, I feel like that's when it unlocks that personal style for you.
mhm. Exactly. And I feel like that's like so important. It's like having that confidence to say like, you know, this is who I am. And I'd like, and people say like, well, I don't want to be trapped in being like one particular thing. But the reality is that people are multidimensional. and you are different people in different contexts and different locations. You know, like what you would wear in Los Angeles would be completely like you did this video of like the same base with like different cities or
Oh
something.
yeah, that
And
was amazing.
yeah, and like and even in a different city, you would wear something completely different, even if you were wearing the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
really changes. There was another reel that I did where I was getting dressed for I was meeting some of my husband's friends basically, and we were going to this very chill Indian food festival thing. So what I wore was very toned down compared to what I usually wear. And there was a comment that talked about how they felt like I dimmed my light and I didn't show up as myself because it wasn't very elaborate, I would say, what I was wearing. It wasn't like this piece and that piece and layering. It wasn't any of that. But the thing is, I actually felt great in it because I'm meeting these people who are from my hometown. I've never met them before. I'm meeting them for the first time. And much like your example of going to the event, I didn't want the highlight to be like, oh, she does fashion. Like, no, I
Hmm.
just want to be one amongst that group. And for that, there is absolutely a way in which I can show up as myself, but still not be so overpowering in terms of my clothes that that becomes the talking point. So I feel like it's all of this is valid because ultimately it gets down to what is your goal for how
Hmm.
you want to show up. And that is what you're servicing more than anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. So you have you talk about like different methods of getting dressed, and your get ready with me videos are so great. And but you do have a at least one that I've found a formula that
Mhm.
you have come up with, and you call it the friction formula. So I think our reader or our listeners would love to hear about that.
Yeah, yeah. So I have this, the way I like to get dressed, and I don't think this is good or bad. There is one way of dressing, which is very much everything is very cohesive. The whole look is cohesive. It's like a bucket. You typically see this in TV shows and movies, right? Because they need to quickly tell you who a character is. So if someone is grungy, everything is grungy. Like they will,
Hmm.
their haircut is grungy, they'll have piercings, their clothes will have tears, everything, right? Or like suits, everyone is dressed in one way head to toe. I
Mm.
just think because people are multifaceted, that way of dressing doesn't actually work for most people, because someone might be elegant but they might also have this whimsical side. Someone might be sporty but they might also have this more ladylike aspects of themselves that they want to show. And I do have style words that I use. So my style words are chill, modern, and commanding. I am chill, but I also have this commanding side. And I do think these, like, I'm the eldest daughter, so these things really do coexist. So I believe to achieve that, you use something called, I call it the friction formula, where the idea is that you add friction in your outfit by mixing elements that others might not think belong together. So instead of wearing sporty, I'll wear something like a sporty top, sporty track pants, but throw a trench coat on top of that instead of a sporty track jacket on top.
Mm.
I will not wear sneakers with that at all, because then I look like a character. I just look like a sporty character head to toe, and that's just not who I am. So I'll pull in different elements to bring in that friction within the outfit.
Mm, yeah, it provides like a pattern interrupt. It's like,
Right.
because
Yeah.
like if you are dressed head to toe, and I have a different formula or a different framework, but we would call it being in one quadrant, because it's a four quadrant, like
Hmm.
dressy, casual, mild, and spicy. And so like if you are all in one quadrant, like I call it like level one, level two, level three. At level one, like everybody knows where you're going. They know what you're doing. And so, and then it's like when you add more, like, and when you start to mix the things, then it's like it becomes more like a different statement. It's like you're
Mm,
saying something different because you're not dressing for an occasion or for a thing, like you're dressing for an expression.
yeah,
And
yeah. Oh, I
so,
love that. I love
yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, I think that, no, I love that idea of like mixing, of just kind of disrupting the head to toe. Almost every time I like get dressed and I'm like wearing the clothes and I'm like, this outfit doesn't feel right. And it's because, you know, I'm all in one quadrant or I'm all in one thing. I'm like too dressed. I have it dressed. So maybe I need to put on, instead of having loafers, put on sneakers, or if, and maybe I need to put on a baseball hat, or maybe, just like something along those lines. Because like, if not, then it just looks like yeah, like you said, like a character.
Hmm.
So that's a really cool way of putting it, though. I love
Oh,
it.
I think the other thing that happens is this, what you just said made me think of this, is that if you don't do this mixing, then sometimes you can feel like you need to start over with your outfit. And that's
Mm.
what leads to, I've tried on like 5 outfits and nothing works.
Hmm.
But sometimes it's like if you feel too elegant and that's not you, that's not your real personality, maybe it's just about throwing one weird accessory in there and then you're done. You don't have to start over the whole outfit, right? So
Hmm.
there's also something about how using this idea of opposites or different quadrants or friction, you can just finish an outfit versus just spiraling and starting over and over and over again and not really achieving the look that you want.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's like it's workshopping your outfits and
Yeah.
instead of starting because like most of the time like people like have an outfit and like, oh, it's not working, and then they scrap the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's like no, that's just the beginning. And if you don't continually like iterate, like you
Yeah.
never really develop your creative process. And like everybody's creative process is like a little bit different. But like I love the fact that you've given people like a framework to say like, okay, what can I have that's like unexpected, or what can I have that will like create like tension or friction or like a pattern interrupt or something along those lines to make it like pop, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That whole starting over, like that frame of mind that you get into when you're like, oh my God, I hate this outfit and I have to leave in like 30 minutes or whatever, and then you start over. My friend and I used to call it the vortex. Like when you like, you're just like, oh God, like I don't know what I'm gonna wear and we have to leave soon, and like we're clothes are flying everywhere and it's just like chaos. It's like I don't want to go there ever again, but it's bound to happen.
Yeah. One thing that I love that you talk about is like flattering, or that
Hmm.
you don't talk about it. I mean, that you do, but not in the way that people think. Like you push back against flattering being a goal when getting dressed. What's your take on the concept of flattering, and how can we unlearn the belief that minimizing the waist, etc., is so important?
Oh, there's such a great topic. I feel like it goes back to what I was talking about. When you're a designer, when you're an artist, when you're an architect, you play with shapes. Shapes and proportions are very important. It's a key element of design, but you never say there is only one shape that is the good shape. It just
Hmm.
that's it. Creativity is gone. There is no need for you to keep creating things if there is only one composition that's perfect, right? So I
Hmm.
think similarly in clothes, I think the problem with flattering, there are so many different problems. Number one, you are very limited in what you can do with your style, because if your waist must look as small as possible, you're either cinching or you're tucking, or you're doing one of few things. There are not that many things that you can do. If your hips must look bigger than your waist, there is a certain thing that you're doing. If your shoulders must look smaller, if your shoulders, I have broad shoulders, then there are only a few things that I can do stylistically, right? So first of all, creativity just gets killed there because you have five options maybe left at that point. Or it might change as the body standards evolve. Like Kim K got a BBL, so now you have to make your butt look bigger. So that's the only thing you're doing. So that's one. Second, I think it's so damaging day after day, because getting dressed is an activity we do every single day. Most of us, even if it's pajamas, we're putting some clothes on. So imagine telling yourself every morning, my waist isn't small enough. Because anytime your focus goes to the size of things on your body, that's basically the internal dialogue that happens, right? So I just think it's so damaging to the psyche, given the world that women live in, that we're reminding ourselves every morning our body is not balanced and we need to balance it with clothes. Like we are fixing a problem with clothes every morning. That itself, like, is just like so bad. Third, I think because capitalism is a thing, this is also what leads to like overconsumption. Because had we been able to fix our bodies, we would have been done by now, right? And all these companies would go bankrupt. But clearly we haven't. So we must keep shopping, must keep buying stuff to make our bodies feel acceptable. So it also just leads to wasting money, wasting time, not really achieving anything, having that no sense of satisfaction with how we're getting dressed. So I totally believe it's just like not the right goal to have with getting dressed at all.
Mm, yeah. It's interesting because there's like comparison happening there.
Yeah.
And so that anytime somebody goes like, "Oh, my torso is too short," it's like
Mhm.
compared to what?
Yeah.
Compared to
Yeah.
who? Like
Yeah.
what do you and like and I don't necessarily, well, yeah, let's bring race into this because like 9 times out of 10, there is a thing that we are
Oh,
picturing
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
just physically not possible for some bodies to look a certain way, or it's not
yeah,
likely, right? So
yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah,
And that also reminds me, I know Janine, you and I both read that book Butts
yeah.
by
That's
Heather
so.
Radke. It's have you read it?
No, I have not, but it
It
sounds amazing.
highly recommend it. It's really good. And
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that a lot lately because there's that section in there about Norma, the
Mm,
normal statue that was created. It was this statue of a woman that was supposed to be the normal American woman. This was in like 1945.
mm,
And the measurements that it was based on were all it was a very flawed data set because it was everyone was white, everyone was under 60, but they used all this data, to supposedly scientifically come up with the normal
Mhm.
American woman's body, and they created a statue. It was displayed in the American Museum of History Museum in Manhattan, and the curator of that exhibit went on to become the president of the American Society of Eugenics.
Wow.
Like it's just it's based very firmly in eugenics to think that there's like a normal body type.
yeah,
And then the other funny thing about this idea of normal is that they came up with all this data and like crunched the data and came up with this one body. That's not normal. That's like an exception. that's
mhm,
that's like
yeah,
not normal, and like isn't that what society does to women is like makes you think like you have to look this certain way that is totally inaccessible,
yeah,
I
you
agree.
know?
And the thing is that no one, there is, no, you could be like the bi objective or subjective, but society objective standards be like the hottest women who, Margot Robbie, who hits all of those measures, right?
Hmm.
But there's still something wrong with her, of course, right? So
mm,
literally, it is not an attainable goal for any woman because the goalpost just keeps moving. So it's just not possible.
Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like we can't win if we're going to try to live in the patriarchy.
Yeah.
Can't
yeah.
win.
Well, I mean, it's like, but also too, it's like if we're thinking about like our waist size, we're not thinking about overthrowing the patriarchy. So,
Yeah.
Exactly.
True. True. Just like starve women and they won't have the energy left to do anything else, right?
yeah,
Oh, I love
exactly.
that. Starve them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like quite literally, I really think that's the point of diet. It's like if you have a headache because you haven't eaten anything all day, what else are you doing?
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And
Oh,
it's scary with all of the skinny talk that's happening out there right now. We could
yeah.
talk about that in a whole other episode.
Yeah.
But so there was an episode that not an episode, but a reel, I guess it was that you talked about. I found it really interesting. You talked about how often like spouses don't understand their partner's
Yeah.
outfits.
Yeah.
And I really loved the way you talked about how your spouse interacts with you, how your husband interacts with you about your clothes, and you say that he's like, this is beyond my comprehension, but I know that it makes you feel good, so it's all cool. Could you like I'm curious if you could kind of tell that story and like how you guys approach.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So this is actually it's so timely. That reel, it's my most watched reel. It's beyond 1 million at this point.
Oh my
So
God.
that also comes with like a lot of different kinds of comments, right? And it's so funny to see most of the negative comments. It's I can see it's their projection of their relationship because they're reading things into that I never mentioned or I never said, right? So things
Mm.
like, why won't you dress for your man? If he hates your style, what is he doing with it? And I was like, I never said he hates my style, but why did
Mm,
you read that into it, right? Um,
yeah.
I was actually I asked my husband this morning because one of the commenters said, you should dress for your man sometimes. So I just asked him as I was leaving, I was like, should I dress for you sometimes? And he looks at me quizzically and he goes, well, dressing for yourself is dressing for me. Like I just
Oh,
want you to
Oh,
dress how you want to dress. And I was like, yeah, that's
oh,
what
he's
yeah.
it
a
is.
keeper.
Yeah. I mean, you chose well.
Thank
So,
you.
And that actually helped me think about, like, from my point of view, how to think about, because sometimes I feel like, oh, should I wear like we're going on a date. Should I wear something tight? You know, like sometimes
Yeah.
I have those kind of thoughts go through my mind, but I love the idea of just, and I think I'm gonna, use this and say it to my husband, like, don't worry about what it looks like because it is beyond your comprehension. Just know that it makes me feel good, and and like we want to have fun tonight, so let's just take it from there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. This is what I was getting at in the reel because I open it by saying my husband doesn't get my style. It's because typically the kind of things I wear, like let's just say something that's more sculptural or it has like these layers, he literally, when I say he doesn't get it, I mean that very literally. He doesn't comprehend it. Like he's like,
Mm,
why is this skirt balloony over here? Like he doesn't get it.
mm,
But that doesn't mean that he has an objection to it, right? And at the bottom of all of this, the truth is that as partners, I think it's an unreasonable standard to have to believe that you will agree 100% on everything. But it's
Yeah.
more about you should support your partner no matter what. Like it's fine. My husband does stuff that I don't completely get, but I'm like, well, on things that matter and the values, we are 100% aligned. So I'm here to support him. Who cares
mm,
about whether I get why this piece is the way it is? That's just unreasonable.
I
mm.
mean, I'm not a huge fan of the newly bald head, but it's his head. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what partnership is, though. It's like a real, like a healthy relationship. It's like you don't have to agree with everything. You don't have to understand everything. It's like some things are just the way it is, like, and, there's a lot of things that my husband doesn't understand about me, and there's a lot of things I don't understand about him, but we still love each other. We still work together. Like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I just think it's funny how some people think that you should do things for your partner,
Yeah,
like change the way that you dress, because that's a big ask.
I agree. I also think, and this kind of stuff makes me so angry, but I also think it's expected more from women, right? Like
Of
Hmm.
course.
so it's
Yeah.
that inherent misunderstanding that it's the woman who must negotiate, compromise, sacrifice, whatever you call it, to
Hmm.
fit the molds that her husband has in mind for what his wife should look like. And
Hmm.
like, why? That's just not a great relationship, in my opinion.
No, I
No,
totally agree.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I have a little question for you because this is something that, like, I live in San Francisco, so it's like part of life here, but you live in a much different climate. And so, but like you also dress in a lot of layers. And so do you have any tips for listeners who want to incorporate more layers into their outfits, particularly like when it's hot?
Yeah. So I live in Los Angeles. It is actually really interesting, the weather here, right? Because it literally was like 55 degrees the other day in the morning, then it was 80 degrees during the day, and then it was 60 degrees again in the evening, right? And I know San Francisco has that happen a little bit too, but sometimes it doesn't get that hot. It's not like
Yeah.
80 degrees at least in the
No.
morning, right? So literally today, like I'm wearing this trench, then I'm
Mm.
wearing a tiki, then I'm wearing a tank top. This is literally like a tank top under the trench.
Oh.
Wearing, I know, I'm wearing a skirt and I'm wearing boots. So if it gets hot, I'm just gonna take off my boots, replace with shoes. So that's taken care of, and then like the layers come off, right? So I would say the biggest, and I don't even know if this is exactly what you were asking me, but the best tip I would give people is that the layers, if especially if they're functional layers, in that they will come off at some point. You probably want your outfit to feel complete with every layer. Otherwise,
Mm.
it's just gonna feel like, well, the tank top or the trench was what was making the look, and now it's gone. I also had, well, I don't have them handy. I also had gloves on, by the way, which have come off since then. But so that's one thing that you do want to kind of at least feel confident in all of the layers. But to answer the specific question that you asked me for summer layers, I think of jewelry as layering in the summers. Just piling on jewelry really does help. I have some clothes that's like basically mesh, or I have this crochet top that essentially has big holes because it's crochet. So those kind of items are very helpful because what happens is sometimes if we see a crochet top, we might say, well, I don't know how to wear it. What am I going to wear under it? Instead, if you think about it as it's a layering tool when it's hot, then it's like, yeah, you will be wearing something underneath, but because you want to layer to add interest, you add it on top and it doesn't add that much bulk or or fabric on there, right? So I think about the different kinds of fabrications that we can play with, plus jewelry to really bring in that idea of layering when it gets hot. And then, of course, like scarves and stuff too.
Yeah.
That's a really good point to have each layer work on its own. I have never really thought about it that way. That's a really good tip.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think especially if they're functional layers. Sometimes we do layer just for aesthetics, and you know that none of the layers are going to come off. Like if that trend of tying a scarf on your waist, the triangular scarf on your waist, which I love, by the way, that's probably not going to come off during the day. So
Right.
that's fine. But if it is actually functional layers, then you probably still want to feel good when the upper layer comes off. So something to think about.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. For sure. How about shopping? Do you have any favorite brands or favorite places to shop?
Yes, I love Tibby so much so that people think they must be paying me because there's no way I'm this stupid to spend this much money on a brand. I'm like, no, I really am this stupid. They're not paying me anything. The money only flows this way, never the other way.
They should. They should really think about that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they have no reason to. I'm giving them all this money. What do they gain from losing that revenue source? I joke that I'm like funding Amy's retirement at this point. Whenever she chooses to, she's
She's
phenomenal. So
amazing. She's an icon.
yeah,
Yeah.
she really is. And so kind too. No, I really like Tibby. The reason why, and I found them, I really do think that my style became a lot more consistent after I found them. Because before them, the other brands that I used to like were Tibby. Don't get me wrong, Tibby is also expensive, but the other brands that I like are more expensive. So that was just like, I'm not very good at thrifting, very honestly. I think I'm very jealous of people who are. And I would be like, okay, I'm going to thrift Margiela. They never find anything. And then I would just be like stuck basically with clothes that I don't love, or maybe a few pieces that I really like. And I just think that through Tibby, it became a little bit more, at least for me, it became easier to find stuff that I like.
That's cool. I mean, yeah, she makes some great pieces, and so I can see exactly like how they fit in your style. So,
Yeah,
it's
totally.
it's great when you
Very
find
you.
something like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh my goodness. Where can listeners find you?
So on my Instagram, Asta Hearts, like I said, I post like all these get ready with me's and then opinions and all of that. And then I have a Substack, fithappens.substack.com. I am thinking about renaming that to Asta Hearts also, just for the sake of consistency. But for now, it's called Fit Happens. On Substack, I write a lot more. I go a lot more deeper. I write two kinds of posts. One is a lot more like educational framework. I did a whole series on lines and shapes that I love. It just talks about what lines and shapes mean in style and design. And then the second category is more on style psychology. A lot of the educational stuff I actually don't talk about on Instagram because I haven't quite figured out. And I feel like, Jennine, you're really good at this. I haven't quite figured out how to say that in like a minute. I had to write a four-parter for lines and shapes, right? So I don't know how to say all of that so succinctly. But yeah, there's a lot more educational stuff on Substack.
Oh, very cool. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, this was so great. Thank you so much, Asta.
Thank you. You had such great questions. It's like making me think so much more about just the concepts we talked about. And I'm going to check out that book.
Yes,
But
it was a good one.
yes,
It's a good one.
I know. It's like
much more academic than you would imagine.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my son, we were walking in the park on Golden Gate Park and they had this like little swing dance thing. And for some reason, they decided to play Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Baby got back.
Baby got back. Yeah. And then like my son started singing it and I was like, oh my goodness. Like he just knows exactly what to pick up.
That song is discussed in the book at length, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
It is. Well, thank you again. And it was a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you both. Thank you.